Our final video on Alberta's 8E4, our human impacts on aquatic systems, is about providing examples of problems that cannot be solved using scientific and technological knowledge alone. Introduction. Some problems in our world are very complex and cannot be solved using scientific and technological knowledge alone. While science and technology are powerful tools that help us understand and address many challenges, some issues require more than just technical solutions. These problems often involve human values, ethics, laws, and cooperation between different groups of people. Let's explore some examples to understand why science and technology by themselves are not always enough. Science is the study of how things work in the natural world, and technology is the use of scientific knowledge to create tools and solve problems. For example, scientists can study water pollution and engineers can design filters to clean water. However, some problems are so complicated that they need more than just scientific facts or new inventions. These problems often involve choices about what is right or wrong, how people should behave, and what is best for society as a whole. Example 1. Preventing pollutants from entering aquatic environments. One major problem is keeping pollutants out of lakes, rivers, and oceans. Science can help us understand what pollutants are, how they move through water, and what effects they have on plants, animals, and people. Technology can help us build water treatment plants, develop better waste management systems, and create sensors to detect pollution. However, preventing pollution is not just a scientific or technological challenge. It also involves decisions about how industries, farms, and cities should operate. For example, should factories be allowed to release certain chemicals into rivers if it helps them make products more cheaply? Should farmers use fertilizers that might run off into streams? These questions require people to think about what is fair, what is safe, and what is best for the environment and future generations. Laws and regulations are needed to control pollution, and these are made by governments based on what people believe is important. Citizens, businesses, and governments must work together to decide on rules and make sure they are followed. This means that solving water pollution requires cooperation, ethical choices, and sometimes even changes in behavior, not just scientific knowledge or new technology. Example 2. Avoiding damage from ice sheets and icebergs. In Canada and other northern countries, ice sheets and icebergs can cause serious problems for ships, oil rigs, and coastal communities. Scientists can study how ice forms and moves, and engineers can design stronger ships or build barriers to protect against ice. Technology can help us track icebergs using satellites and predict where they will go. But even with all this knowledge and technology, there are still challenges that cannot be solved by science alone. For example, deciding whether to build an oil rig in an area with lots of icebergs is not just a technical question. It involves thinking about the risks to people, the environment, and the economy. Communities may have different opinions about what is important. Some people may want to protect jobs, while others may worry about oil spills or damage to wildlife. Governments, companies, and local communities must work together to make decisions about how to manage these risks. They need to consider scientific information, but also listen to people's concerns and values. Sometimes the best solution is not to build at all, or to find other ways to meet energy needs. These choices involve ethics, economics, and social values, not just science and technology. Example 3. Climate change. Climate change is another problem that cannot be solved by science and technology alone. Scientists can measure greenhouse gases, predict how the climate will change, and invent new ways to produce energy without polluting the air. However, stopping climate change requires people all over the world to change how they live, travel, and use energy. This means making decisions about what is fair for different countries, how to help people who are affected by climate change, and how to balance economic growth with protecting the environment. International agreements like the Paris Agreement are needed to bring countries together to solve this problem. These agreements are based on negotiation, compromise, and shared values, not just scientific facts. Example 4: Protecting endangered species. Scientists can help us understand why certain animals and plants are endangered and what can be done to help them survive. Technology can track animals, restore habitats, and breed endangered species in captivity. But protecting endangered species also involves choices about land use, hunting, and development. People must decide what is more important: building new homes and roads, or saving habitats for wildlife. These decisions often involve conflict between different groups, such as developers, conservationists, and indigenous communities. Laws, education, and public awareness are needed to help people make choices that balance human needs with the needs of nature. Conclusion. In summary, while science and technology are essential for understanding and addressing many problems, they are not enough on their own. Many challenges require people to make decisions based on values, ethics, and cooperation. Solving these problems often involves laws, education, and working together as a community. By combining scientific knowledge with thoughtful decision making and respect for different perspectives, we could find better solutions to the complex issues facing our world. Checking for understanding. Which problem cannot be solved using scientific and technological knowledge alone? Balancing economic growth with environmental protection, calculating the speed of a boat in water, identifying the chemical formula for a pollutant, or measuring the temperature of a river. Pause now if you need more time. It is balancing economic growth with environmental protection. Which example shows a problem that requires more than just scientific knowledge and technical knowledge? Is it choosing how to prevent pollution, determining the best filter for removing pollutants, estimating the volume of water in a lake, or finding the pH level of lake water? Pause now if you need more time. The actual choice of how to prevent pollution is the one that ethics become involved in, because often that requires asking industries to change their process, or just asking people to change their habits. Which situation involves a challenge that cannot be solved only with science and technology? Is it calculating the mass of an iceberg, designing a ship to withstand cold temperatures, making decisions about avoiding damage, or predicting the movement of ice sheets? Pause now if you need more time. It is making decisions about avoiding damage. What risks are we willing to take? What technologies do we need to prevent it? Which problem requires both scientific knowledge and ethical decision making? Is it developing a new water purification system, deciding how to manage waste, studying the life cycle of aquatic animals, or testing water samples for bacteria? Pause now if you need more time. Deciding how to manage waste. Once again, ethics come in value judgments. How much money are we willing to spend on waste management? Which issue cannot be solved using scientific and technological knowledge alone? Is it balancing the needs of industry and the environment, calculating the freezing point of water, identifying the minerals found in water, or measuring the depth of a river? Pause now if you need more time. It is balancing the needs of industry and the environment. If you have any questions, any feedback, please leave them in the comments, and I will do my best to respond in a timely fashion.